Hey, get back here. So EA recently had its fiscal year, basically earnings, and they did a call announcement. We're gonna kind of go through all the things. I read through all the documents. Gonna give my thoughts on some of the things, specifically about Madden and some of the sports titles they have, because there's some talk about this first slide, particularly in the community. A lot of talk about this one about Q2 for FIFA and Madden 21, because people, as they understand it, and they rightfully do, Q2 is from July 1 through September 30th. So he was like, oh my God, this got pushed back to September 30th. A lot of people are saying, and really, there's nothing in this guidance that shows us when it's going to launch. So EA still hasn't come out. I haven't heard any like official rumors or anything that says it's going to get delayed. There's been nothing out there. They said nothing about delaying, but basically they're telling stockholders, hey, these games are launching in that 3-month period. They say the same thing last year and so on and so forth, as Madden has always launched. I believe Madden has always launched in that Q2 time frame. If people don't know what Q stands for, it's quarterly. FY at the top is fiscal year, and fiscal year varies from calendar year, obviously, since their fiscal year Q1, quarter one, starts in April 1st to June 30th. So they have like a little offset between their fiscal year and calendar year. You can't tell. So Q2 for Madden NFL 21 confirmed. Interesting things down here, though. They expect to announce additional titles over the coming months, including unannounced EA Sports title, an additional EA HD title, 4 EA partner titles. EA partner title would be like, how Apex launched. That's kind of like an EA partner title, and 2 mobile soft launches. So big fan of soft serve here in the den, but soft launches there. So unannounced EA Sports title. What's above here? What major sport is not represented here? Basketball, right? So we're gonna get some sort of NBA 21 coming back. I'm guessing probably when the new consoles launch later, probably around Q3 or in Q3. So yeah, NBA I'm guessing is gonna be their EA Sports title, because maybe they like, what other sports? They bring back PGA, I guess. So there are other sports obviously out there. They can make a pool game, but the most obvious one is one that they kind of have been developing in recent years and kind of gave up this past year. But I haven't heard its official cancellation. So I think the NBA game is going to come back in Q3. We'll see how NBA Live does on the newest generation of consoles. But I think 2K has always and will continue to eat their lunch. But you know what? Maybe it's a great comeback. And I wish the best, because, better games are better for consumers. Like, we don't just want these things to fail, right? Well, some people do, obviously. But I read through everything. They had some very interesting talk between the Q&A, between their earnings call. So I kind of want to go through all that. And I apologize if it gets a little numbery here, but I did think it was interesting that, like, okay, so compared to 2009. So 2009, I think it was Blake Jorgensen, the CFO, said this. Physical game sales, so like actually selling the game of Madden right here on our consoles, actually selling it, comprised 84% of their business. In this last fiscal year, it was only 20% of the business. A majority of the business, and they have good charts here, which I'll scroll down to. Actually, it's on this other thing. They have good. Where are the charts? Yeah, here it is. They have a lot of good, basically live services, Madden Ultimate Team, FIFA Ultimate Team, that kind of stuff, Apex stuff. Those live services where you buy it after, the initial, what I mean, like after the initial buy, live services, that makes up the majority of their revenue. So EA has completely transitioned over to that for a good purpose, and it has kind of shown how beneficial it is. Trailing 12 months, they made $2.7 billion off that, and then they made another 7 out of game sales, full game downloads, and mobile another 516. So people saying, oh, Madden Mobile really dominates Madden Ultimate Team. It's just not true. I mean, I know FIFA's in there, Apex and stuff, but they didn't really kind of go into specifics about how much Ultimate Team Madden Ultimate Team itself gave specifically. They didn't break down to that level, but it is interesting to see live services obviously are dominating it. Yeah, those digital represented 78% of their business on the trailing 12-month basis, which is a new record for them, 75%. So it is growing. It was 75% the previous year, 78% this year, just for those live service stuff, those digital stuff. Over 49% of our units sold through were digital rather than physical. So physical stores, even though, maybe you guys don't really care about this, even though physical stores are closing with this COVID, they're still selling a lot of stuff online, which is obvious. I'm buying most of my games online now, so it's just represented. I'm not that atypical. A lot of people are also just downloading them from the online marketplace. They did make a statement. I believe I read news stories on this. I didn't find it specifically. There was a statement about the free upgrade. So if you buy Madden on, like, say, the old console, you will be able to get it on the new console. So it will, like, transfer over automatically, which is kind of cool. I mean, better for consumers there. So they're not going to charge us twice for the same game. As, you know, they make most of their money off these live services. So try and keep people in the live service environment. Like, this kind of number, I mean, with how much it dwarfs, and obviously you don't want to give up, you know, 100 million in revenue or whatever it is, but like getting more people offering Madden for free will just grow the big number more, and I think it'll grow it more than they lose right here. So in my opinion, you know, I think it's just obvious for these Ultimate Team modes to go free to play, because you'll get more population in the live service area, kind of like Apex, than you will here, because this is a small shrinking piece of the pie. So if you expand the larger piece of your pie, just better business. But I don't know if EA sees that, if they want to do that. So, yeah, I talked about the new titles from EA and third-party studios. Madden is actually going on Google Stadia. I don't know if you guys know that, but Madden, they announced this actually a few days ago, that Madden is going to Google Stadia. They didn't mention anything in here specifically about the games, but they did mention Google Stadia. They will be going to that. So I don't know how they'll do Madden with Google Stadia going forward. Will they add it down to the PC marketplace? Will they combine those two auction houses, or will Google Stadia have its own auction house? Because I bet that's going to be dead, right? They've only sold like 500,000 Google Stadias. I think, at least initially, they only sold 500,000 from what the article said that I read about it. So that's going to be like a super low population base. Like, I really hope, like, maybe they integrate that. Maybe they like cross consoles but don't cross PC. We'll talk tonight about another video I want to talk about bots on the auction house. I think I'm saving that. I'm going to do a whole video on that. So they did spend $2.4 billion on share buybacks in the last 2 years. They did mention. So they took our money, you know, used to fund, you know, salaries like Mutt Guru and community managers and gameplay people, and they just bought back shares with it. So 2.4 million. They don't really have a graphic for that, but like 2.4 billion on share buybacks seems like a big waste of money. But then when you look at what EA did in the past with a lot of their extra money, where they buy other game studios and they run them into the ground and then shutter them. So EA is burning money either through share buybacks and increasing and like basically, I would say manipulating the stock price that way, or they're buying other game companies and ruining it and flushing the money down the toilet that way. So EA, they're really good at ruining things. So, you know, might as well ruin the value of your company versus the value of other companies and just partner with people that can do other games for you like Apex instead of buying them and destroying them. So there was an interesting statement, and there was a lot of interesting statements. I want to go up in this conference call. I'm not going to go through all this. I read through all of it, obviously, but they made this interesting statement out. Madden on its own was the biggest Madden year we've ever seen, and of that, due to the amazing work that game teams did in building Madden with incredible new modes and components to it, and then pushing that into Ultimate Team as well. So they think it's the biggest Madden year we've ever seen, maybe just since they've been leading the company, because I can tell you Madden is not nearly as big as it was in like 04, 05, just for game sales, but probably in revenue, I could see it being the biggest, which is probably what they count on the most. So Madden, they say, is the biggest year ever. And then when you look at like, hey, well, how do you justify that, the like biggest game ever? They talk about this interesting part right here. Okay. This guy asked me. This guy up here, Eric James Sheridan, asked about the sort of understanding maybe the rate of change of engagement and monetization. Is there some specific titles? Are there learnings you're getting from this period? All right, anyways, his question isn't very specific on any one thing, but Andrew Wilson, I mean, it was obviously specific, but not what I want to talk about. I would tell you that FIFA's hour watch in April 135% up over last year April and 115% up for Madden. So Madden engagement and hours watched. Now, is this just esports or is this through all kind of like engagement? So they're like taking some sort of numbers of like their esports or streams or YouTube and saying that's how we're saying Madden's the biggest ever for that kind of stuff. Now, that's obviously not including their internal numbers. I don't know if this makes a whole lot of sense to people. But they're also measuring how much we actually engage with the game on the outside, not just on the inside, right? It's FIFA hours watched. So wherever he's getting that number from, wherever their marketing department says these numbers are coming from is interesting. Whether it's community sentiment, whether it's you guys watching this right now, that's including the hours watched, or is it just their eSport TV broadcast hours, right? They said the eSport TV broadcast hours in the U.S. in April up 250% over last year. and bigger than all of calendar year 2019. So they're talking about engagement. So when they mention about Madden's had the most engagement ever, they're probably talking about creators and people watching it. So it's kind of like, is that your work or is that creators' work, right? Isn't that like when MMG puts out a video that gets 500,000 views? He is like, that's us. Yeah, we got that. We did that work. It's not MMG or his editor or anybody else that like put in the hard work and we earned that. That's ours now. So it's interesting that they include that as like Madden's like, oh, biggest engagement ever. And it's like, I don't know. I guess you can kind of take that a little bit since it's on your game, but tough. So I really thought this statement on page 12 was interesting. Alexander Joseph Giamillo at Jeffries LLC. Anyways, I was hoping to get a general update on your relationship with the NFL. We saw a competitor agree to publish non-simulated NFL games. So I guess the question is, do you think there's any risk that the NFL opens up its simulated license at any point? And then sticking to sports, sorry if I missed this earlier, was there any updates you plan with the NBA Live franchise? So what's funny here is that Andrew Wilson, like a true politician, basically talks around the entire thing, being like, it's the best year in Madden history. Our relationship with the NFL is very, very strong. Didn't mention anything about the competitor. Didn't mention anything about, like, does that change anything? Are they going to lose their exclusive simulated license? So it's really funny. I'll link this in the description. Obviously, this and the other one that I was on in the description, so you can check it out yourself. But basically, Andrew Wilson completely avoided the question about them losing their simulated license. So I think he's worried. I don't think he's like super pumped about it, which obviously as a competitor, you do not want more competitors in your market when you got like basically a monopoly. So yeah, he's sweating his boots, which is awesome to hear. Really awesome to hear that maybe they might lose their simulation and 2K can kind of capitalize on that and bring us a competitor to make hopefully both games better. So that I thought was absolutely freaking gold. And then respect to NBA Live, nothing more to announce at this time. They have a great relationship with the NBA. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I think NBA is coming back again. I think they're gonna launch that thing as their sports title. So that's what I want to talk about with their stuff, right? Stadia, the buybacks. You know, they're sweating in their boots about 2K coming into it. And then, they're taking credit as Madden's engagement is the highest ever. It's basically how much they watch people play Madden or people watch people make Madden videos or esports tournaments. Funny, right? Hilarious. So there it is. That's kind of what I want to break down. Interesting stuff. I don't know if you guys find this kind of stuff interesting, but I sure did. That's it. Let me know if you have any questions or any funny things that you found in this that I didn't. But a lot of good info that they kind of like showed with the business going forward on it. Thanks for watching Call to Action. I'll see you.